Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 14 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your FPL planning. I find it magnificent, genuinely, because it helps me massively during hours and problems of need like this. Because genuinely, a rare one here for the Deadline stream. We're in the hour before deadline and I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. Those who are normally here will know I normally know what I'm doing. I've normally done it before the stream starts. There are a number of options. I'll tell you how I line up currently. So it's Johnson in goal, Lascelles, Saliba, Shimikas, Saka, Bowen, Mbeumo, Son, Mitoma, Haaland captain comfortably for me, Alvarez on the bench, Watkins, Cash, and Udogie. There are a number of things that might happen to this team in the next 50 minutes or so. One is rolling a transfer. One is going Watkins to Nunez. One is going Bowen to Gordon. One is doing both. And there could even be a -8 that would be Watkins to Nunez, Son to Salah, and Bowen to Justin Kluivert. That's the least likely option. I think the most likely for me at the moment is to make the Nunez move only. But I could even yet roll. If I have a bit of decision paralysis, that's probably what I'll end up doing. I think it's going to be one of those two, most likely. But I'm prepared for that -8. I have mapped it out, and I might do it. That probably needs confirmation that Watkins and Bowen are both in the gutter, though, I think, for me to do that. Let's clarify some bits for you. So for me, Haaland, Salah, the only two real for captaincy this week. For me, it's comfortably over Haaland. The giveaway for that will be look at the correct score prediction of Manchester City to get 5 against Tottenham tomorrow. I think Haaland will go mad, personally. And I think Mo Salah will do great this weekend as well. I actually had a dream that he scored twice, if that helps anyone. I think so. I think Haaland will still outscore that. That's my take. To the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams at the moment. I don't have Ollie Watkins or Jarrod Bowen in either of those predicted lineups. Below me, you'll see the benching dilemmas graphic. They run in order, pages 1 to 4 for outfield players and page 5 for goalkeepers. The player with the tick is the preferred choice to start in your team over the player below, and they will run through in order from pages 1 to 4. I've got currently Gordon over Bowen over Son over Watkins. Yes, Bowen over Son, even though I'm not convinced he starts. But I think with Bowen, I think he's either he'll play or he's out. That's how I feel. Whereas Watkins, I have an inkling he could be a sub. That's the key difference. In terms of people wanting to replace those two players, you probably already got the giveaway. But I've even written it in the bio this week. So if you've got a Watkins or a Bowen problem, you're looking for a replacement, I've detailed it in the bio. To replace Ollie Watkins, my top pick is Darwin Nunez. The second best pick, in my opinion, is Alexander Isak. In terms of replacing Jarrod Bowen, the best replacement comfortably is Bryan Mbeumo. If you already have him, then it's Anthony Gordon. If you already have both, then it's Cole Palmer. That's the preference. I don't think anyone's probably already gone into this week with Watkins, Nunez, Isak. That's why I've not put a third option there. And the third option would probably just be the keep at the moment. Maybe Dominic Solanke would perhaps be the one. You'll also see right at the bottom of the screen the next 5 game week fixtures for all 20 teams as well. The top captaincy picks will rotate with the correct score predictions. I am not going to do 50 minutes of talking here on just replacing Watkins and Bowen because I can't be bothered. The answer is in the bio and I've just clarified my opinion on it. So, without further ado, let's keep an eye on information. The FPL Focal was quite hopeful of getting some information on Ollie Watkins particularly. Probably not expecting information on Jarrod Bowen. It's also worth saying, with obviously it being a 1:30 PM UK deadline, there's every chance we may get the Arsenal team. Now that could even have an impact on me as well in terms of having Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka and William Saliba, who I would all expect to start. Right. That's clarified it. For those who just joining late and didn't hear what I just said about Bowen and Watkins, read the pinned message and then read the bio. Let's do the questions. Vivek Gore says, hi James, start Lascelles or Hwang? Hwang. I've got Hwang above Lascelles on the bench in dilemmas, mate, so that's the one. JP says, hi James, start Solanke or Palmer. I've got them right next to each other on the bench in dilemmas. Dominic Solanke is the call. Greg Watson says, best midfielder 7 million or under, not Mbeumo, Gordon or Palmer. Well done, Greg. Best 7 million or under, not Mbeumo, Gordon or Palmer. I'll throw one out that I think's not getting any attention at the moment because of Anthony Gordon's price, and I will shout Miguel Almiron. JP says cold showers, yay or nay? In the summer, yes. In this time of year, definitely not. But in the summer, when it's boiling hot, yeah, I'll have a freezing cold shower. Tommy Gonzo says, morning James, chose one to start from Zuma, Bayer or Lascelles. Well, Burnley's the one I'm backing for the clean sheet. It's probably Bayer. Just about. Wavy says, good afternoon, sir. Hope you're well, no question, but hit the like button, folks. Yep, cheers. It's much appreciated, mate. Let's see how many likes we got so far on the Peak Winner stream. So it's less than 10% of you have hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. This is a free stream, and it does really help spread the Planet FPL word, guys. MRCX says, hey, James, who to play out? Aporo, Bulldog, Taylor. Cheers. It's Taylor. Bulldog I haven't even bothered putting on the bench in dilemmas because I just wouldn't start him. Tell you the truth. So it's Taylor over Porro is what I've got. 1M1 Go says, hi James, would you play Højlund or Watkins? Cheers. I'd play Watkins personally. I do think Højlund probably starts, but I think there's probably a little bit of doubt about him as well, to be very honest. He's obviously come back into the team on Wednesday night against in Turkey. But could Martial play again today if they're being cautious about him? I think so. So it's Watkins with the information we have at the moment. Vivek Gore says, wants to buy Mbeumo. Who should I get rid of for him? Martinelli or Bowen? Doesn't seem to make sense to get rid of Martinelli today. So with reluctance, it's Jared Bowen, mate. 1M1 Go says, also play one of Cash, Colwill and Dawson. Thanks again. I think considering Colwill and Dawson's opponents, it's still stick with Matty Cash, mate. I've got him in my predicted Villa lineup, but I don't have more than about 60% confidence in that, I must say. But I wouldn't be confident in the other two doing anything anyway. MRCX says, do you think it's time to get rid of Bowen and work towards Gameweek 18 if he doesn't play this week? Yeah, look, it's a possibility, but I don't think West Ham's fixtures are bad, right? We know about Tottenham's defensive issues coming up next. Fulham away, Wolves at home, Manchester United at home. For those particularly wildcarding in 19, like it's perfectly reasonable. So I would... For most, I don't want to sell Bowen. I don't really want to sell Watkins either. That's where the decision paralysis is in for me at the moment. Because I'd be quite happy to keep both of them to run through to game week 18. I do way more see the upside of going Watkins to Nunez anyway. There was always a consideration when I got to this point to maybe make that move anyway. The fact that I'm not 100% about it probably tells you a little bit of a story. I do think I'm going to do it. FPL Gold Galazzo says, good morning James, aka FPL Top Advisor. Have a smashing game. Hit the like button, you mugs. Thank you, mate. Have a good one. Stevie J10 says, hi James, keep Martinelli or use second free transfer on Mbeumo. Keep Alvarez or move to Darwin. I would not be selling any Manchester City attacker this week. Any Manchester City attacker that you've got this week, if you think they start, I would not be getting rid of them. No way. I get the appeal, but I wouldn't do it. On Mbeumo, like wanting to get him in, yeah, sure. But again, I'd be very reluctant to sell Gabriel Martinelli this week. Not sure. And Mbeumo, listen, is obviously is going to hurt you more in the sense of his ownership has obviously exploded. And in terms of Martinelli, that's not going to hurt you. So if you're fearful, fine, make the move. I understand it. I would say across the next 4, I'd have a favouritism for Mbeumo, but specifically on this week only, I think that's quite close. Ben Edinson says, I went back and forth on whether to take out Mitoma or Bowen for Mbeumo. Decided on Bowen because I feel like there is less question marks over Mitoma, especially with Fatty's injury. Why are there so many laughing emojis popping up on this stream? It always makes me panic, like I'm not really live or something like that. I read the question and I took no notice of it. Right, I went back and forth on whether to take out Mitoma or Bowen for Mbeumo. Decided on Bowen because I feel there is less question marks over Mitoma, especially with Fatty's injury. Yeah, fair. I mean, Mitoma ironically looks in a better position than he did this time last week, right? So yeah, I get that. MRCX says, who do you want to get in your wildcard in Game Week 19? Can we focus on this week? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing this week. Game Week 19 will be about the teams that's got good fixtures. So there's City, there's Tottenham, there's Villa, there's Chelsea. Like, I don't need to worry about that now. It says, plus any Spurs mid apart from Son for a punt in game week 18. Brennan Johnson probably the one to keep an eye on. We've got word on Watkins. This is from FPL Focal. Thank you, Sweet Blues. A decision will be made close to kickoff. Still more than 24 hours out. Late fitness test. Sorry, it's nothing concrete. I've asked if there's any more info other than that. Here's the thing on Watkins as well. I've been saying a lot on Liverpool over the next 3 games and Newcastle over their coming period, starting with Everton, is the close proximity of the fixtures. There has to be a consideration from Villa's perspective that after they play tomorrow, they play Manchester City on Wednesday and then Arsenal on Saturday. Now they're going to be desperate for Watkins to be available for those 2. That's part why I think he could just be a sub tomorrow. That is almost confirmation for me to buy Darwin Nunez, I think. So that's from FPL Focal. He said last night it was every chance he would get some information. Just to clarify that message again. Watkins had a message just now. Decision will be made closer to kickoff. Still more than 24 hours out. Late fitness says, sorry, it's nothing concrete. Have asked if there's any more info other than that. He's also added, FPL Focal, I'm starting him, Watkins, for what it's worth. And I think he'll start. And he's also said, nothing on Diaby Cash, sorry. I suggest giving FPL Villain a follow for predicted lineups and team news. He's not confident in a cash start, so I've sold him, keeping Watkins. Oscar will absolutely only be sharing that information in good faith. I realise it doesn't give anything definitive either way. He's sharing the information that he's got. He can't do anything more than that. So thank you, Oscar. I know you ain't listening or watching because you're doing your own stream, mate. Donald D says, assume Pau Torres would be below cash on benching headaches. Probably same. I mean, the one thing to say about Pau Torres is, like, he'll definitely start. That's as close to 100%. So you could argue in the same place, actually. Discord in my head says, Jackson as Watkins' replacement question. No midweek games. Brighton at home this week. Cheaper. Yeah, the only problem with that, and I don't mind it, is we don't know the impact yet of Nkunku, who we think is going to be in the squad. Won't start tomorrow. That's a near certainty. But for that really good run of Chelsea fixtures, if you want Jackson for all of it, we don't yet know or understand what the impact of Nkunku is going to be on him. So that's all. If you want to go there, like, I don't mind it. But you need to be aware of that. Owen Murphy says, hi, James. Gay or Porro? That's probably a play Gay, just about, I think. Stevie J10 says, best cheap defender apart from Shimikas. Yeah, there's not many to look at this week. I think Ethan Pinnock is a really short-term one, maybe, that people might want to consider this week. It's why I put him on the fun. But most of the cheaper options don't look great this week. Emerson or Soufal, Zuma, maybe considerations for West Ham perspective. Jamal Lascelles and Tino Livramento, certainly worth considering. Beyond that, not great. If you're looking for a locked player for Nottingham Forest, because they've got a good 5 fixtures, might be one for those wildcard in Game Week 19. Murillo, as discussed with Mark Southerns in the week, is the safest way to go with that. And if you want to go really rogue, Lloyd Kelly's injury will mean that Milos Kerkez will stay in the Bournemouth team over this forthcoming period. I'm pretty confident of that. So there's another rogue one to throw out there. And if you want to go really cheap, subject to doesn't look good in Game Week 16, Burnley's fixtures over the forthcoming weeks aren't that bad either. But let's remember they haven't kept a clean sheet this season. Tiffy Ferrero says, start one of Bowen or Watkins. Well, as per my team at the moment, it's Bowen. And the decision for me is going to be, if I go Watkins to Nunez, because it's close. I've got Bowen above Son on the bench in dilemmas. But is it logical, therefore, to play Bowen over Son? That's what I need to think about. But of the 2, I think with that information today, there's every chance Watkins could be a sub tomorrow. And it's worth saying, by the way, even though I buy Darwin Nunez isn't, I don't think it's going to start all of Liverpool's next 3 games. Pretty confident he starts tomorrow, but I think one of Sheffield United or Palace he probably won't start. Now, he's a sort of player still very capable of returning from the bench. It should be added. And if he was going to have a game rotated, you'd argue one of them 2 would be pretty good from that perspective. Probably almost wish that he got benched against Sheffield United in a weird way, because you'd still fancy him to score late on if Liverpool are a couple up, for example. It's Bowen over Watkins for a start for me at the moment. As I said, I think Bowen will either play or not. Watkins has a good chance to be a sub, so that's the reason why. Who's next? Downstairs says afternoon legend start one of Taylor, Porro, Cash, and bench order for the other two. So it's Taylor, Cash, Porro is the order. Also, would you sell Watkins for a hit? And if so, prefer Nunez or Isak, or just allow a sub to come in? Cheers. So don't know who your other sub is, so that's got to be relevant, Dan. Considering I'm sitting here and I'm not certain that I'm going to go Watkins to Nunez for free, I think I am. Then it's possibly a no on the -4. It's possibly a no. One of the things I really like about going Watkins Nunez as well, it's this close in my mind that in Game Week 16 it would allow me, if I roll in 15, to go Turner to Sanchez rather than Johnston to Sanchez. You might think, what's the point of that? Sam Johnston could pair for me really nicely with Sanchez on the wild card in 19. I've got a little bit of value in him. That's how close the decision is in my mind. Daniel Hazlitt says, hi James, love the pod. Fantastic content. Thank you. Smash the like button, everyone. I have one free transfer left, and I'm wondering if Turner to Keller or Watkins to Nunez is my best move or role. Keller is completely dependent on your other goalkeeper, right? So I said on Monday's podcast, and said yesterday on stream, I covered it a bit more, but I said on Monday's podcast he was potentially a gift. Now at that point, it looked like Alisson would be out till New Year, and that's a long enough period. Keller might only get these 3 games. So if your other goalkeeper is like Johnston for me, then you're going to walk into Game Week 17, you're still just going to have Johnston away to City. That's shit, right? If you want to take the benefit of the 3 fixtures and you're happy with your other goalkeeper from 17 onwards, then fine, work away. But I think on the face of it, Nunez would be the one now. Daniel Evans says Sanchez or Areola. If that's a start, I'd go with the West Ham keeper this weekend. A Shimon92 says, hey James, would you do Bruno, Fernandes, Son and Watkins to Salah, Mbeumo and Darwin for a -8? Love your content. That's as good as a -8 could be, really. I think probably yes. Probably yes. Sundance Kid says who to bench. Son, Saka, Salah, Mbeumo, Palmer, Haaland, Darwin, Isak. Reluctantly from that list, mate, it's going to be Cole Palmer. LP says, hi James, currently have Bowen, Watkins, Semenyo in my 11. Hwang and Pau Torres on the bench. Should I transfer out Bowen and or Watkins or roll? 1 free transfer. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, you know my options now. But yeah, I would be making a transfer under that circumstance. Maestri18 says, hey James, hope you're well. Diaby to Sterling, what do you think? Not keen. Raheem Sterling's on 4 yellow cards. So not particularly keen on that. I think it's one like you can come back to. I get it. But man, imagine if Sterling got that booking in Game Week 16. She'd be absolutely sick. So I'm not that keen on Raheem Sterling now for that particular perspective. Just reminded me to have a look at players that are on yellow cards. So I just shout out a number to be aware of that are on 4 at the moment. Helps if I go to the right bloody place, doesn't it, James? Do try and remember to make a transfer this week as well, buddy. That would be really, really good. If you want to, of course. You might not want to. So Matty Cash is on 4, Luca Dean, Douglas Luiz is on 4, Jordan Bayer, actually I'd mentioned for the Burnley ones, he's on 4. That would be a no, so it's probably more like Charlie Taylor in that circumstance. Sterling's on 4, Abdullah Doucouré is on 4 yellow cards, Anthony Robinson, Rodri, Bruno Fernandes, Kieran Trippier, Reine Nori is obviously going to be injured this week. Nelson Semedo, they're all on 4 yellow cards. A few notables on 3. Cole Palmer is on 3. Trent's on 3. Bernardo Silva and Grealish are on 3. Jamal Lascelles is on 3. Morgan Gibbs-White. Destiny Doggy is on 3. Hwang is on 3. So the ones on the 3 are not bad. There's a number on 4 yellow cards which should be concerning. Remember, 5th yellow card equals a 1-game suspension. That amnesty ends after the 19th match. So any player who receives their 5th yellow card in Game Week 19 would be suspended for Game Week 20. Anybody who gets their 5th yellow card in Game Week 20 would not be suspended for Game Week 21, except for the exception of Manchester City and Brentford players who won't have played their 19th game in Game Week 20. Andrew Howard says, hi James, already have Darwin, would you move Watkins onto Isak for free? My concern with that is what I discussed on stream yesterday about Isak and that close proximity of games for Newcastle. Thursday Everton, Sunday Tottenham, Wednesday Milan, Saturday Fulham, Tuesday Chelsea Carabao Cup quarter-final. Somewhere in that period between the Everton and the Fulham games, he isn't starting. Now, I've said that that's the same issue for Darwin Nunez this week as well. Ironically, it could be Tottenham away. Might even be the one that Isak misses, and you might not be that bothered about it. That could be how it works out. I don't mind it. Look, I think Isak is a perfectly suitable solution. I've written that in the bio. You know, number one pick for me is Darwin. You've already got him. Fine, Alexander Isak. For those joining in late who are looking for Watkins and Mbeumo replacements, I've written my preferences in the bio. Ryan says, hi James, what do you think of me taking a -8 for, Bowen, Son and cash out to bring in Saka, Gordon and Trippier? Thanks, mate. Not so keen on that, mate. To be honest, not so keen. Not so keen. Jerry Darmy says, hi James, with Gary O'Neill saying Aït-Nouri's out until next week, is he a sell or bench this week? I'm benching him anyway this week for Bulldog, but for Gameweek 15 that'll be a problem. Good luck this week, mate. I'd sell him. Yeah. Thing is as well, like 15 he's got almost no chance, and the hope that he'll be back for next week, yeah, he might not be. For me, that's a sell. Richard Borgren says, worth -4. Alvarez to Nunez or wait until next week. As already said, I would not be selling Manchester City forwards this week. B Max says Ferguson/Alvarez to Darwin Nunez or Diaby to Palmer, or just roll and start Ferguson or Diaby. Thank you advance. Ferguson to Nunez I would get done, mate, if that's one of your options. Justin Dyer says, thanks for the free content, James. Smash the motherfucking like and subscribe buttons. Cheers, mate. Let's see what percentage on likes we're on now. Yeah, about 12% of you. There's about 88% of you haven't smashed the like button. It's bad times, really. It's just press a thumb, isn't it? Rose Mendes says, sod the FPL Cup, mate. G. Lee says, hi, James. How would Nkunku affect Palmer minutes in the future? I don't know. I don't know. That's the honest answer. What I would say is, in relation to the earlier question about Nicholas Jackson, I'd be far more confident Cole Palmer staying in the team than Jackson longer term. Palmer's an exceptional footballer. Jackson is a good forward. It's going to depend a lot on where Nkunku plays, right? It could be an impact on Sterling. It could be an impact on Gallagher. I think in Gallagher's case, the impact might be that he ends up playing a deeper position. Andrew Sands says, Laura Kussenberg or Sophie Ridge. Don't know who Sophie Ridge is, mate. Sorry. Atalar Mansour says, start 2 of Bruno Fernandes, Palmer or Son. Excellent content. Thank you. I'd probably bench Bruno out of that. I might be in a minority there. Stephen Courtard says, Ben White, keep or sell. That's become an awkward one, hasn't it? I think if you don't have William Saliba, I'd just go there. I know it's sideways, but I would just go there, I think, would be my take. If you already have Saliba, subject to your bench, I'd either keep or sell. Depends what the rest of your team is that you've got. Alex Serpis says, considering Willian over Cole Palmer to avoid rotation over the Christmas period, am I being silly? I mean, he's got Liverpool away this week. He's got Newcastle away 17. 18's good at home to Burnley, sure, but nah, it's a no for me, mate, to be honest. He's on pens, yeah, so's Cole Palmer, mate, playing in a much better team. YT says, would you take a -4 to move Diaby to Doku, Sterling, Palmer this week? I don't think so. See, I think the Watkins doubt as well, like, for me, is every chance that Diaby starts, right? Just checking if we've got any more updates on news. I can tell you that Alfredson and Walsall is off in the FA Cup, if that's of interest to anybody. No, nothing additional. I'm not expecting any Jared Bowen news, by the way. I'm not. I suspect we might get a leak on the Arsenal lineup, to go back to the previous question on Ben White. Michael Bianchi says, hi James, I'm thinking of taking out Watkins, Bowen and Ward-Prowse for Darwin Nunez, Saka and Gordon. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, quite like that. I mean, if that's from -4, then yeah, quite like that. -8, borderline. I'd be moving Ward-Prowse on. I like the 3 players that you're buying. Yeah, thank you, B Matt. We've got that. Amber Redmond says, no question. Unusually for me, have a good time in Manchester. Fingers crossed for a shock result. Thank you, Amber. Good luck to the Tractor boys this weekend and the Tractor girls. Chris Hermitage says, I got 8 Nori in Sky. A mistake. Would you move him on this weekend? Yep. Yep, I would. Shimikas tomorrow would be top pick there, I think, mate. Alex Piri says, hello, mate. Hope you're well. Thoughts on Sun Saka from -4? No, for me. No. I know, obviously, look, they went off on Wednesday and I didn't see a lot of the game, but what's his combined XG over the last 5 games, Bukayo Saka? What's 0.17? And he has been ticking over with the returns over that period, and of course he could explode today. But even Son, even though I think we'll get slapped tomorrow, Son could still do well, right? 3, yes. -4, I think, is a no for me. Homegrown FPL says Diaby or Anderson to start. I'd go with Diaby. I think I don't fancy Palace for a clean sheet, particularly with Decore out. Stuart B62 says, hi James, don't see Palace defender on bench and dilemmas play Cash or Gay. Yeah, it's a close one. That's a close one, but I think the fact we know Gay will start gives him just about the edge on that one, which is contradictory to the other one. Diaby offensively, it feels like it goes off. Like, let me put it this way. Even if Matty Cash starts, I don't particularly fancy him to return. So, to answer your question, long way round, mate, probably isn't going to matter. Dragos B says, hi James, who'd start Livramento, Maguire or Gay? I'd probably go Livramento out of that. Ben Edinson says, I felt like Semenyo should have got a mention on Monday's pod. He was really good. I feel way happier seeing him as the 3rd striker over Archer, but I know people have bigger issues. Yeah, it's fine. We've mentioned Antoine Semenyo a lot recently, so that's probably why he didn't get mentioned on Monday. The one I regret not mentioning on Monday's podcast, by the way, is Luis Diaz, and the impact on him that I think could be positive on Diogo Jota's injury. And that might be a solution for people who've got a Jared Bowen problem as well. But again, I do think rotation will kick this week, and I don't think his ceiling is as high as, say, Nunez. Motta says, favourite sausage, the one I'm about to eat. Patrick McCarthy says, hi James, start Cash, Maguire or Hwang with double Arsenal defence. It's Hwang probably on that, but I get it with a double Arsenal defence. That's tough then, man. Cash, I'm not happy with that though. Ben Edison says, what's your thoughts on Mitoma being quite a bit higher than Shimikas on the bench in dilemmas? It's not a lot, is it? I just think there'll probably be goals in that, and I do think we can probably have quite strong confidence that Mitoma starts tomorrow, so we know the capability of the player. Is it, let me give you an example. Is it inconceivable this weekend because of the backlog of fixtures that Liverpool go 3-0 up at half-time and they take him off? Now, that wouldn't be enough to scare anyone not to play him, right? But it's a possibility. Sure it is. Then you have one against Everton. I know there was a red card in the game, but he went off quite early. And admittedly, in that one, they were chasing. So, that sort of thing's possible. Mitoma, I think, gets good minutes this weekend with their situation. He's in my predicted Brighton lineup. So, yeah, Mitoma, we know the capability of the player. The problem with him is always, what's happening with them? What's their team going to be? Andrew Sands says, squads in pieces, 8 Norrie and Reece James, already moved Mitoma to Mbeumo. Got Watkins and Bowen, -4 to Gordon, Sterling or Isak. So it's Gordon over Sterling for me. Isak, I've spoken about quite a bit. Reece James, you're going to want to hold on to at the moment. Consider what your back 3 is. If you're confident they'll get minutes this week, then it's obviously something you can come back for. Carl Miller says, have Watkins and Share as first bench. Thought process is not to take a -4 to Nunez, since I want Watkins in 18 and replacement would need at least 6 for it to be worth it. What say you? Yeah, I think it's really borderline on the -4. And I'm sorry, Carl, it's really difficult for me to answer when I haven't decided yet if I'm going to buy him for free, right? I think I am going to buy Nunez. The thing for me as well, I think this is important because, like I said, I've used FPL Team and looked to plan ahead. 1 second. Sorry, I had a message from FPL Harry, but and I thought he might have something information-wise. He doesn't. What was I talking about? Yeah. So me on my planning, right? Because I've got Alvarez and Haaland, they can both go for me in 18, straight back to Isak and Watkins. Now, if you're sitting there all of a sudden and you've got maybe you don't have Haaland, right, and you don't have Alvarez, then your route back to these players might be more difficult if you've taken like the Mo Salah route, for example. So for me, looking at Gameweek 18, if I sell Watkins, I'm going, well, yeah, well that's just Watkins and Isak, isn't it? If they both land there and they're fit, that's what I'd be doing. So it might be that it's not as easy for others to get back there as it will be for me, because you might, well, I've got other fires in other places I want to put out. I don't know. I'm leaning to say yes, Cole. I think I'm making this Nunez transfer. I think the -4 is so borderline. Matthew Hall says Archer or Gay first bench. Gay, do you know what? I didn't even bother putting Archer on the bench in. Sod it. Andrew Sands says up-to-date thoughts on double game with 20 plays. I spoke about this quite a lot yesterday, so just say it very, very briefly. I think the probability, this is actually what FPL Harry was messaging me about, the probability of it comes down massively. I think we're now down to about 50-50. There is a school of thought which was discussed in a chat I had with Ben Krellin, Ian Parry and Talon Nadeem the other day on Twitter, that it could be waiting for the FA Cup draw and the arrangement of fixtures to potentially get the game played on Thursday, January the 4th, which would of course fall into game week 20. So it's not dead in the water yet. I always said that if we got to yesterday and there hadn't been an announcement, then the opinion would strongly change. So now we are at a 50-50, I think. And I think if we haven't got anything by the time the game week 16 deadline comes around, then I think we're probably at less than 25%. FPL Galactico says, hi James, already done Diaby to Mbeumo. Would you do Watkins to Nunez for a hit? Have Bowen starting and Porro first sub. Come to you Spurs. I'm going to skip it, mate, but thank you for the question. Dan the Fisherman says, what you reckon, James? Watkins to Darwin, -4, fixed bench. Foster to Darwin. Oh, God. Sonny to Sterling. Would need to bench Bowen or Watkins. Again, not keen on the Sterling reason because of the 4 yellow cards. Foster to Darwin, like, he's, yeah, get that done, definitely, and fix that. As Winnie says, good afternoon, James. Hope you and the family are doing well. Much love from Sri Lanka. Love to you backwards, pal. Owen O'Donovan says, hi, James. Would you start Wood-Prowse or Big Tasty Lascelles? Keep up the great work. James Wood-Prowse for me. I think despite the fact Palace are good defensively, I think they have lapses with balls crossed into the box, both in open play and set-piece scenarios. Andrew Flannery, hello, my friend. Hope you're well. Says, hi, James. Start Gordon or Kudos. Great show. I think it's Gordon. Just because the little doubt of Kudos, we think he missed out Thursday night because of illness. So I think just on that, Gordon just gets the nod. He has also returned in every home game that he's played so far. So just Gordon, mate. Gavin Sharp says, which one to play from Taylor, Cash and Anderson, and which order to bench them, including Nketiah? Yikes. I mean, in a weird way, Nketiah's just about the most likely to get a return, even though I don't think he starts. It's Nketiah last though, isn't it? It'd be a big surprise if he started. Obviously, look, if we got an Arsenal leak and he was in the team, you play him. But I think the order you've written it, mate. Taylor, Cash, Anderson. Subert's blog says, hi James, do you think Martinelli to Sterling could be an option if it's another blank this week? Sterling's surely going to be up in his game soon to get back into the England squad before the Euros. Don't think he will, by the way. 4 yellow cards again. It's up to you, right? You want to take that risk or not? MRCX says bench spot 1, Porro, Archer or Bulldog, as you've written it, mate. Rob Pick says, hi, mate. Already done Watkins to Isak, wanting to do Archer to Nunez. This means a -4. Would you do Bowen to Palmer or Diaby to Souček? That's close. Purely because I'd rather be keeping hold of Bowen than Diaby. That's why it's close. But the preference is with Palmer, mate, for me. You're not going to want to look at Diaby in the next few, I don't think. And you probably don't go Diaby to Souček in midweek. Do you need Bowen this week? That's probably where it lies, right? What happens if Bowen doesn't play? That's the ultimate answer here, Rob. What's the scenario for you if Bowen doesn't play? Otherwise, I'd make the Diaby move. Laser says, thoughts on Foden, Mbeumo over the next 4. Mbeumo, mate. Laser, that's what I've done. Shin Sakai says, hey, James, hope you're doing well. Nunez for Alvarez or Diaz for Adingra. Diaz Power. B-Max says, come on, everyone, take 2 seconds to hit that like button. Let's see what percentage we're on now. It's up to about 18% of you, so it's about still like 82% of you like can't hit a thumb. Come on, doesn't cost anything, guys. Sheila Gerard says, which combination would you prefer moving forward between Sochet and Cole, Palmer and Taylor Branthwaite? The Palmer option, personally. J-Lord Broski, hi James, late to the stream, so watch from the start, not FPL related, but do you think refs now will start to stick with their original decisions when going to the VAR screen was at game Tuesday? I don't think it made a difference, mate. They're going to the screen's a waste of fucking time, isn't it? Redrick 103 says, who would you bench, Shimikas, Son or Palmer? Palmer, reluctantly. No, Shimikas, sorry. Shimikas. I played Palmer over Shimikas, I think. FPL Maestro, it's Lascelles. Ollie Smith 16, Newcastle game a chance of being called off, question, otherwise safe journey to Etihad. There shouldn't be any concerns about the game. The only thing that's likely to cause a problem up there at this late stage is high winds. Could maybe be, but I don't think we're expecting that at all. So, no, there's no reason to think the Newcastle game would be off. Manchester United's flight got cancelled, so they've got to get a coach. I'm not aware of any issues from that perspective. So Lazy FPL obviously had the information wrong with Alvarez last week, but it was the first time they were wrong. I've said that Gabriel Jesus starts for Arsenal. So for the person who's asking about Nketiah, that's a definite no-go. So Lazy FPL saying that Gabriel Jesus starts for Arsenal. Thank you for that, Colin Con. Very much appreciated, my friend. So to clarify, Gabriel Jesus, according to Lazy FPL, starts for Arsenal. It's not revolutionary, is it, that information? It doesn't come as a shock, does it? Homegrown FPL, start Anderson or Diaby. Geo Lux says, hi James, 2 free transfers, no current issues, dead end to 18 and wildcard 19. Do you prefer Keller in to play ahead of Johnston for the next few, then reassess, or getting Pope now safe up to 18? Yeah, quite like that for Pope. Like, if you've got no issues, yeah. Perfectly reasonable to get Nick Pope. I would prefer that, I think, mate. As long as it doesn't impact any of your other plans because you're spending more money. Just double check that again on something like FPL Team. But otherwise, yeah, the Pope move is fine, mate. Chim says, Watkins, Son, Bowen. Here we go. This is the one maybe for me. I'm not doing it. To Haaland, Gibbs White, Socek, worth a -8. What? It could be. Just on Haaland. I think it's a no, pal. I think it's a no. George Bristow, 4.3 for Ben Davies seems like a steal, especially considering the run after City. Do you think he starts the majority of games? Yes, probably. Might be one that offers up a solution for people come next week. I would think when Romero's back, that yes, Ben Davies would most likely be his partner. I would add to the caveat of that, it's not impossible that it might be Emerson Royal, though, and Emerson Royal would play left-sided centre-back. I think Ange would much rather have a left footer at left-sided centre-back, but Emerson does offer a bit more defensively, and the lack of ball-playing distribution isn't as required once Romero is back. So I'd consider that, but I would say, yeah, probably 75-80%. Yeah, Ben Davies will probably stay in the team. Sam Robertson says, have Cash and Soufal flagged as sick. With Castagna as my only bench cover, 1 free transfers. Any suggestions? Welcome. Not Ben Davies. Shimikas, like, is it too late? Still perfectly reasonable to get him in. If you can do that. Failing that, cheaper ones, Pinnock is really short term. It's not for me, I don't think. But, you know, if you think you can run 18 fine on your wild card in 19, then sure, I think that's reasonable. Anything else this week feels a bit kind of meh. And if Soufal plays, I don't think you're that bothered about it. Murillo is another. It's a solution. It's bad, as in it's boring. But yeah, Murillo might offer you a solution. Right, I need to think about making this transfer soon, don't I? Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? And who do I bench is the next bloody problem, isn't it? Do I bench Son or Bowen? Could Jared Bowen be a one-pointer? Could it be that he's a sub? Could that be the case? Is Bowen definitely better than Son anyway? Odan Gilmore says, hi James, got Gordon or Son. Can't see Spurs doing well. I think Newcastle can exploit United's weak defence. Should play Gordon. Ben Edson says, looking to bring in a City defender from 16 onwards. Do you think Walker continues to start, or is Diaz worth the 0.2 move? The nice answer from Gameweek 16 might well be John Stones, by the way, mate. Slight preference with Kyle Walker, I think. Varun says, hey James, play 1, bench 2. Taylor, Gay, Maguire. What order of bench as you've written it, mate? Exactly as you've written it. Lee Sherwood, I don't want to ask a repeat question. Can someone tell me what you said about Watkins in the bio, Lee? Or listen to the start. Listen to the first couple of minutes, mate. Jack LaRue says, he said Watkins' decisions to be made just before the game. Nothing definitive. Yeah, basically that. Alex Turner says, hi James, hope all good. I bought Isak, but I'm not unsure whether to play him or Palmer or Bowen. If you bought Isak, play him, mate. Jesus. Over either. I'd play Bowen over Palmer, I think. Schnapp says, hi James, bench Palmer or Solanke. They were next to each other on the bench in dilemmas, mate. Literally, right next to each other. It's the player with the tick is the choice. Mr. Sean Kelly, 68, great show. I haven't catch a play or bench. Sell. Begin to start thinking about it. D Taff says, hi James, bench Diaby, Son or Palmer. Good luck, thanks for your hard work. It's Diaby. Christendom 1 says, hi James, Bruno to Mbeumo for free, or Bruno to Mbeumo and Watkins to Isak from -4. I already have Darwin. Keep up the great work, mate. It's just 1 for me. Lars says, any news on White? It's White versus the Cells for me. No, not as yet. Nothing incoming at this stage. Right, I'm gonna make this Darwin Nunez transfer for Ollie Watkins. It's a free transfer. That's the transfer done, confirmed. Who do we bench, James? Who do we bench? Bowen or Son? Oh, fuck, it's tough. Darwin Nunez is in. I've signed him. Lanny Butcher says, hey pal, who'd you start? Taylor, Lascelles, Gay. Think, yep, as you've written it, mate. Hervatin says, would you take a -8 to change Porro, Ruben or Cash for Saliba? It's going to be an additional -4, isn't it? I don't like -4s for defenders. I cover that all the time. No. Sam Emerson says, hey James, start Son or Trips this week. Don't like benching Trips at home, but Sonny versus somewhat leaky City defence excites me. More to the point, Sam, I'd be interested to know what 3 defenders you're starting over Trippier. I'm trying to think here. If you had like Saliba, Gabriel, Shimikas, even still, I'd start Trips. Yeah, I don't know what you'd have to be benching Trips as not one of your 3 best defenders this week. So the answer to the question is play both, mate. Honestly. I don't know what your 3 is, but Trips would definitely be in it. That's why he's not on the bench in dilemmas. Because I didn't think there'd be a scenario where someone asked that question. So I would play Trips. Gabriel, Bruno and Palmer out, Saka and Palmer in, don't mind that. Alan Goldsmith, great stream, James, as always. Anything reliable in the Matty Cash benching rumours? No, nothing reliable, mate. Patrick Lawson says, should I start Bayer over one of Gabriel Saliba? No. Despite the fact I'm predicting Burnley clean sheet and not one for Arsenal, the answer is no. Ben Edinson says, Sky question, originally planning on Diaby to Silva for the Everton game. It's going to be Thiago Silva. Sorry, I'm thinking Bernardo Silva. But do I just bring in Silva early as a Dunk replacement? Must be a defender and work Diaby to Rodri. Remember, Rodri's on 4 yellow cards, mate. And now we think that Brentford game's beginning to look like it might not happen, right? I wouldn't bother. He'll probably get like 10 points tomorrow, Rodri, because he'll get probably past here and probably score. Nah, I mean, timing-wise, doesn't really work here, does it? It's next Sunday. It's after Villa Arsenal for Diaba to Silva for Sky Fantasy move. So that's a no. Wait till next Sunday is probably the one there, mate. Many M says, isn't Ketcher starting him or Son? Well, we can't think so because Gabriel Jesus is. Ben Enns also is Bowen a sell in Sky if he doesn't start. No. Someone tweeted me last night and said best Bowen and Watkins replacements in Sky, and I responded and said Bowen and Watkins. No intention for me to sell unless there's something that's longer term in Sky for those two players. Thomas Nielsen says, hi James, would you start Livramento or Cash? That's Livramento, Project FPL, Porro or Cabore? I just play Pedro and hope for the attacking return, mate. Penguin says, hi James, hi from Colombia, thanks for your input. Watkins out, Darwin in, and then maybe move Darwin to Isak Gameweek 17. Thoughts? Yeah, I spoke about that chain move early in the week. It's probably going to be keep Nunez through for me and end up with Nunez, Isak and Watkins in Gameweek 18, I think. It's still 2 home games for Liverpool, United and Arsenal, right? So I mean, it probably stays considering their home games. Eurospherian says, hi James, who is the best captain this game week? Salah, Haaland, Darwin or Mbeumo? Haaland by absolute miles for me, but I think Mohamed Salah will do really well as well. Vishnu says, afternoon, I have Watkins and Bowen, currently sitting on keeping Watkins. Do I go for Sterling, take the risk on 4 yellows, or go Gibbs White short term and assess and Kunku for his run 15-16? Oh, I'm not big on Gibbs White at all, really. Prefer Palmer, Gordon, Almiron, Souček, even Bellegarde maybe. It's not the right week. Justin Cliver, I think, is one to keep an eye on. I'm not big on Morgan Gibbs White at that value. I've got to be honest. Not big on it at all. Noah Van Uyen says, would you start Baldock over Cash? I don't think I'd start Baldock over anyone, mate. Aaron Hill says, start Cash or Colwell. Cash. Jordan Chevalier says, worth the risk to go Isak, Hall and Nunez up top. It's a very good front three in my opinion. Zach Boyle, Neto for Palmer. This is in selling Pedro Neto. He's not going to make game week 15, mate, so it's a yes. Dexter TC is Harry Toffolo. Nailed. No. His first choice at the moment. He's surprisingly done well over the last number, but I think that could change. Anytime he has a bad performance, I think that will change. But at the moment, yes, but I think it could change. Penguin says, does your boy Harry like footy and is he a Spurs fan? Nice to hear him giggling in the background. That's why I wear the headphones, so I can't hear it. No, he's got no interest at the moment, to be totally honest. I tend to, when I'm going to a game, I get him to say, come on, you Spurs, before I leave, but he ain't got a clue what's going on. Zach, I've done it once already, mate. FPL Gold Galazza, FPL Top Advisor, your thoughts on Mbeumo starting against Palace? Suj might know, lol, cheers. Suj doesn't know anything, mate. Doesn't know his arms from his elbows, mate. Be surprised. To be honest, I think the fact he started the other night and Ings was a sub is part what makes me think that Bowen might not make tomorrow and Danny Ings might start. I've got Danny Ings in the predicted lineup at the moment and it's just a prediction. I don't know anything. I would be surprised if Mbeumo started. Another Hoop says, hey mate, do you think it's worth a -8 going Martinelli and Watkins to Palmer and Hall and captain? Like, I get it. Selling Martinelli this week feels wrong, but I get it, mate. I get it. Yeah, okay. Jagos B says, hi James, start 2 out of Maguire, Livramento, Gay. Thanks for the content. I'd probably go Gay over Maguire. Livramento's a yes. Danny Hoyle says, love all the content, James. Keep up the great work. Sorry if you already covered a bit late to the stream. Was the latest on Watkins, the sell this week. We don't know if he's going to play and a decision will be made tomorrow. That's it. That's all we can tell you. Lewis says, start Edison or Areola. Areola, mate. Lewis says, is it worth -4 selling Watkins? It's borderline, isn't it? Right, James, you need to make a decision here, mate. Okay, I'm starting Sonny. That's the decision. The decision is, difference in my team now to what's on screen. Bowen now on the bench. Watkins gone Darwin Nunez in the team. Haaland captain. I will leave Bukayo Saka as vice captain purely because I absolutely know that game will go ahead today 100%, just in case there's an avalanche of snow tomorrow. We're not expecting it. I also wasn't expecting it when I went to Burnley that day either, though. So I think sensible probably to leave vice captaincy with how cold it is here on Bukayo Saka at the moment. So, yeah, team changed. That's it. That's all I'm doing. The -8, it's not happening. It's not justifiable for me. Jared Bowen sub. He's going to be expendable for me because there was every chance I was going to bench him this coming week anyway away to Tottenham. So he is going to become expendable for me, but I don't think selling him's not the one for a -4. And then bench who? You know what I mean? I'll take -4 for Gordon and play him over Son. Like, doesn't make sense, does it? So that's what I've done, and I'm sorry that there's a few people I'm not going to get to their questions for, but it's not often I'm sitting here this late making transfers. But that's it, done, confirmed. Let's go to points. Let's go to pick team. Let's make sure it's saved. Yeah, done. Not in love with it, but okay. Nicholas Hodgson says start to a Solanke, Visser, Shimikas, 2 forwards, I think, mate. Dirk says, would you prioritize guaranteed minutes over the Bush period? Went Bowen to Gibbs White instead of Diaz for -4. Oh, I'd have gone Diaz, but it is what it is. Mr. Sean says, took your advice, sold and catcher to Darwin Nunez for -4. Good, right, cool. William Score says bench Bowen, trusting Son. City plays high line, Son can get in behind them. Schnapp saying bench Bowen. I've got the idea here, guys. William Scott says also crazy idea to bail out and no Haaland with a -12. I'm never ever going to give my thumbs up to a -12. Ever. There's no point in even reading it, William, honestly. C says Pinnock and squad depth plus money for future transfers, or Saliba no money left and tough for future transfer decisions. Certainly, if you already use your wild card, I'd definitely go Saliba. Arsenal's fixtures up to the end of March are fantastic. There's obviously that 3-game run that doesn't look good, but yeah, longer term Saliba, mate. Arnav says, hey James, who do you prefer, Darwin or Isak? If you had to hold him till game week 19, I'm planning to wildcard that week. I've got Nunez. I can only say that, mate. And I'm on the same strategy. James Street says Watkins to Darwin, Bowen to Mbeumo done last night. Went for Salah last week against City being a red. Always hard to cheer on Haaland when you don't want him to perform against your team. I think Haaland is the better captain pick this game week. I'm in agreement. Jens Sveen says, do you put any weight on Spurs' record versus City for your prediction? Spurs' best away team so far this year as well. Ange Postecoglou's not had a Tottenham team play Manchester City, so the historical is completely irrelevant, to be very honest. Erman says, is it okay taking -4 for Bowen to Gordon, Watkins to Darwin Nunez? Yes, it is. Stephen Moore, Trent and Watkins to Lascelles and Haaland captain. I actually don't mind that, but that's the wrong week to be set. If you've got Trent, we're suddenly going to sell him now. I get it though. There's no real justification to have Trent. It might hurt this week though. Lewis Bonilla says Edison Areola. I've already done that for you, mate. Try listening. Mr. Sean Kelly said, I'm a York fan. Anyone watching on BBC last night? Maybe someone was, but not me. Yes, kudos is flagged, Lewis. I've got the same eyesight as you, mate. Right, that's questions up to date, guys. We're about 3 minutes to deadline. I'll see if I can get the graphic updated with my team with the update. There's no guarantee I'll be able to because I'm useless like that. Captain, vice captain, Cells in, Saliba in, Shimikas in. Sorry, terrible content. Dan Robinson, hope you're good. Ben Chilanga or Watkins Alanga, mate. C says, thank you so much for answering. Love your work. Have a great weekend, you too. Felix says, on wildcard to bench Palmer, Gordon, Isak, Son. It's Palmer from that, mate. Felix, hope one of. Yeah, Palmer, mate. James Malera says, Mino or Kluivert? Kluivert by a long way, mate. Like, Mino's a super talent, but it's not a fantasy option, mate. Justin Kluivert is the one I've been speaking about this week as really interesting for those who need a 4.6 midfielder or below. He was part of a consideration for a -8 for me. Sweet Blues says, did you see the Hamburg own goal last night? What's the worst own goal you've ever seen live? Worst own goal I've ever seen live? Gareth Bale, Tottenham against Liverpool when Aaron Lennon smashed the ball into his face. I can't think of one for Tottenham. I'm having a blank, mate. It's me scanning about 1,000 football matches there, mate. It's not easy. Penguin says, I'm sure Watkins will be saved for midweek. You've done the right thing putting Darwin in. Mr. Dyer says, what is the chances of Brentford game getting called off? Next to 0, mate. Next to 0. There's no reason really any Premier League game should get called off this weekend unless the snow gets bad, and I don't think it is, right? I think we might have sleet up north, but it should be absolutely fine. Right, we are circa about a minute to deadline, guys, so it's last chance for your queues. Last chance. Grealish Cars says, thanks, James, your GOAT. What does that say? I can't see. There's a heart in the way. Something you watch Harry play in Germany of. Oh, do you watch Harry play in Germany of? Nah, I've not got time to watch Bundesliga, to be honest, but I wish him all the best generally. I only want him to do well. James Malera says, hit the like button, guys. Yeah, guys, especially if I answered your question. A lot more likes now. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Yeah. DTAF has a message retracted. Oh, no. Message retracted. I think we're going to be just about coming up the deadline, guys. Let's have a look at the time. Penguin wants everyone to hit the like button. It's very much appreciated. I got 3, 2, 1 deadline is what I've got on my clock. So that's your lot, guys. I'm going to see if I can... I'm going to try and see if I can do something clever here. While I talk about supporting the show. If you want to support the show because you want to support stuff like this and the free content and allow me to keep doing these things, then you can support us at www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Throughout the month of December, all basic plus tier patrons and above will have access to all of the podcasts released during the course of the week. That's going to be around about 20 additional podcasts. All intermediate plus tier patrons will have access to all the advanced tier content during the course of the month as well. For advanced tiers, I still haven't decided. It's been busy. Shit was a bit hectic with the family yesterday as well. By the way, everybody's absolutely fine. For those who've been asking, no drama, no need to worry at all. Let's see if this can update my team. It might do, hopefully. Let's see. Let's see if magic works. There we go. It's done it as well. So, sorry, I didn't have time to do that faff while I was chatting. If you came just for the FPL stuff, guys, smash a like, hit the sub button. We'll be back. Deadline stream is next Saturday morning, isn't it? So 10 a.m. jobby, I believe. Content this week will be the free content available to everybody. Monday will be Gameweek Review podcast. Clayton's going to be with me for that one. Tuesday, Clash of Correspondence, Aston Villa versus Manchester City with Johnny Pringle and Lee Jackson. We'll have that out early for you on Tuesday because obviously it's a Tuesday deadline. So, of course, deadline stream Tuesday, which I'm going to have to do in my living room because I have to look after my son at the same time. 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Could be interesting. Wednesday's also going to be Clash of Correspondence ahead of Gameweek 16. Manchester United versus Bournemouth with Gary Robinson and Neil Grover. Thursday this week. Thursday will be the Sky Fantasy Football Podcast. And on Friday, we'll have another Gameweek Review podcast, which hopefully Suj will be with me for that one. And hopefully for the Sky podcast as well. The Patreon pods next week will be, Q&A Monday. Differential show, Game Week 15 preview on Tuesday. Game Week 16 preview show, differential show on Friday. Tottenham Wednesday. Thursday, Ask James for patrons this week. That will be for basic plus tier patrons and above. Stream and audio will be available for all. And the advanced tier content this week will include, which will also be available for intermediate plus tier patrons, team news streams on Tuesday and Friday. There will be other stuff Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. I just haven't decided quite what yet. If anybody's got any non-FPL questions and they want to throw them in the chat, now is the time to do so. Happy to spend 10-15 minutes covering them off. Let's see what we've got. Ryan says, good luck, everyone. Stevie J, I've spoke about cash like all through the stream, mate. Owen Walsh says, all right, James, just catching up. Glad to hear no injuries after the crash. Enjoy the game week. So that's, most people don't know. So let's say the wife had a very minor car accident yesterday. But she's fine. Harry's fine. Everyone's well. It's all good. Minor damage to the car. It'll cost, but it's minor damage. Everyone's fine. Thank you, mate. Pushkar says, post-deadline question. Very interesting question. Okay. Do English fans think foreign non-game going fans are lesser fans of Premier League teams? Are they irrespective of what travelling fans think? Okay. I get what you're trying to ask, I think. So I can only answer this honestly, right? So my opinion would, it's not now, my opinion would have been in the past that I live here, so it means more to me. James, we've covered this and it's not a big deal. They're getting a coach. Seriously. What did teams do before flying? Oh, God, got a coach. Oh, 3 hours on a coach. Poor bastards. They'll be fine. Yeah, my opinion used to be Pushcard that like I live here, therefore it must mean more to me. I go to the games more. But I've learned over time from, speaking to people around the world and stuff that that's not necessarily the case, right? So, like in my head, I don't think anyone does care more about Tottenham than I do. But where you live has no bearing on that. And I've certainly learned that those overseas, you have to remember that they don't have the opportunity, right? And everyone starts supporting a team for varying reasons, whether it's a player you liked, you saw a certain game or whatever. So, yeah, I think my opinion would have been no in the past, but now I would say, yeah, it's absolutely fine. In terms of a generalisation of what people think, I think probably in our bubble of like the FPL world, most people would say, well, you've got the same right to feel that way wherever you are. I would say probably more in the football community as a whole, there would probably be more, well, like what I said, kind of how my views used to be, which was, well, I live here, so of course it means more to me. So I think there'd be a very, very split opinion, mate, but certainly wherever you are, you have a voice and a right to support your team, and it doesn't mean that you care any less. I began to look at it from the perspective, rather than it means more, that I just look at it now and go, I'm lucky, right? Because I'm here, I can go to the games. Because I've been going for so long, I am in a privileged position where I can go to the majority of away games, like tomorrow, via train to Kettering. Thank you, Ricky Saunders. I love you for attempting to get me and my dad to Manchester tomorrow just to see us get absolutely destroyed anyway. But yeah, whatever. And at least it's going to be warm though, right? I'd take a postponement. I really would. I would take a postponement and play them in February. Yeah, I would definitely take that. I would definitely take that for us at the moment. Even if it destroyed my FPL week, I would take it. Definitely, I'd take it. Ollie Smith says, favourite for Golden Boot after Haaland. It's got to be Mo, isn't it? I think would be the right answer there. Dave Lister says North London or South London. It's not even a conversation, is it? Cyrus Barnard says Euros 2024 draw today. Who do you want for England? Couldn't care less, mate. Couldn't care less. We should qualify whoever we get. There's one really tricky one, isn't it? If we could get like Denmark, Netherlands and Italy together, would be a bit like, ooh, that's but to be honest, if that's the group we get and we don't get out of it, then we don't deserve nothing anyway, right? So I'm not bothered. I would rather avoid Scotland, I'd say. Just because the whole circus around the playing each other, and it levels the field a little bit because it's a derby, right? So I'd probably rather avoid that. But if we get them, like, I'll look forward to it. Like, we play anyone. I generally not fussed. Like, I probably won't even watch the draw, to tell you the truth. We get. Brian says, hi James, what other sports do you follow outside of football? I don't particularly. So with other sports, I'm a bit more of a glory hunter, right? So if, like, you know, the World Darts Championship will take a little bit of interest in the house, because that's coming up in the next couple of weeks when it's the World Snooker Championship. It always tends to be on a little bit during, like, April period, over the Easter period and that. Rugby World Cup, little bit of interest, sure. Cricket World Cup, little bit of interest. Golf majors, I tend to have a little bit more interest in the US golf majors, just purely because of the time they're on. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll watch the end of that on a Sunday night, maybe, if it's like the Masters, for example, or the US Open. Whereas, say, like the British Open, I don't normally catch any of it, for example. So there's nothing else that I particularly follow, per se. DTAF says, non-FPL question and random one. Kamara at Villa reminds me a lot of Moussa Dembele. Aesthetically, if not stylistically. Okay, right, I was going to say, I'm not getting that. Just wondered, as a Spurs fan, if this is something you noticed, or is it just me? I mean, it's just you, mate. Aesthetically, as in the way they look, no. And stylistically, no. To be honest, if you're comparing Moussa, I don't even know where you begin to compare him to anybody. And that's not to say, like, it's the best midfielder of all time. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying in terms of to compare him stylistically at his peak at Tottenham to any other midfielder, I don't know where you start. I don't know where to start with that. It was one of a kind and just madly unique. Leanne Monticelli, what a great name, says, us Aussies like pies and chips at the footy. What's your go-to food? I'm not a big pie head. Sausage rolls, me. Sausage roll at Tottenham's banging. Leicester's still the best one for me. Brentford's pretty good. I'm a burger head. If all else fails, just get a burger from a van, right? Burger and chips, whatever. Yeah, so connoisseur, me. James Street says, Sky question. Dunk 2. Mbeumo, Palmer or Gross? I think Palmer. And I think it gives you a little bit of time to breathe. There's certainly a case that you could just have Mbeumo. See, with Mbeumo, I think it's probably sell him off to Sheffield United next Saturday into something next Sunday. And the recommendation there would be, guess what? Palmer. So if you've got luxury loads of transfers, I don't mind Mbeumo for free, then on to Palmer. Gross, as kind of covered in the Skypod, I think is a solution for people. If you're short on transfers, then maybe that's the way to go. But if you've got no Chelsea coverage, you're going to still need that either way somewhere. So it does depend a lot on the rest of your selections, James. I've got Palmer's the only one of the three I've got, and therefore I feel like that's the right answer to give. Besha says, how much does a player's historical record against a specific team factor into your FPL thinking? Okay, let me give you an example of this. So this is a bad example because it doesn't work, right? But Tottenham play Wolves at home in Gameweek 25. Okay. Now that week, Liverpool have Brentford away, which is challenging. Manchester City have Chelsea at home. Now the fact that City are at home is just Haaland for me, and it's not much of a debate. But let's just say I got there and I thought Heung-min Son is the best captaincy option in that game. Let's just say hypothetically I thought that. The fact that he'd never scored against Wolves before would have absolutely no relevance in my thinking. Because the relevance would be that he played one game for Tottenham against Wolves under Ange Postecoglou, and it was a game where the majority of the team was absent. So it would have no relevance. It would be more relevant if Maddison was back fit, Romero, Van der Ven, others, Bentancur, Bissouma, Sarr, keep going, James, Solomon, Sessegnon. Who else am I missing these days? Ashley Phillips, Richarlison. It's a good team there somewhere. So no, not huge. I think if a player's got a really good, consistent, like the Suarez Norwich one, then obviously it plays on your mind the other way a little bit more. But no, not specifically. It would be more if I thought certain individuals had certain problems with certain players, or perhaps, the two managers haven't been around for long enough. But I think in most cases you have to treat each one on its merits, right? So an example would be, I've just used that Sun and Wolves, right? And it's the only game played previously between Ange Postecoglou and Gary O'Neill, right? Whereas if you want to look at, say, Salah's record against Man City, for example, you go, well, I've got a lot of games there where I can judge Mo Salah playing against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, right? So there's more relevance looking at something like that longer term. So I think each case needs to be treated individually from that perspective. FPL Spartan says, afternoon, James. Sky question, please. Captain today. I'm torn between Saliba and Saka. Does Saliba get past in? Fulham did versus Wolves earlier in the week. Yeah, I'll be going Saliba. I think it's very, very close. I think the absence of Lemina and Doyle would possibly just tip that in Saka's favour, I think. But if Arsenal keep a clean sheet, he'll need 2 returns to outscore Saliba, if that helps. Because, Saliba should hit the passing today. James Street says, also, Sky, what's to do with Colwell, keep or sell? So he'll play tomorrow. That's almost a certain. He'll play left back tomorrow. And then Wednesday, and then I think on Thursday into Tottenham would be the plan. So in Thursday night, get into Romero Porro on Thursday night. That would be the advice, I think, really. Or, if he's your only Chelsea coverage, you might decide that he starts Sunday, because he'll start tomorrow, starts Wednesday, and then you might think, well, I'll have a look at the team on Sunday to see if he stays in again. And he might suddenly become useful for you. But I think we're probably at a stage where he's not going to be the Sky asset that, say, William Saliba suddenly was last year at a very similar price. It's not going to happen. Ryan says, on a scale 1 to 10, how good would you say you are at cooking? 2. And I'm presuming that 10 is best here. Let's say 2. Penguin says, hi mate, if you have any Spurs contacts, get them to send some scouts to Colombia. There's amazing talent here. Luis Diaz has quite a few players who can rival him. Well, email Tottenham and tell him, mate. Email Daniel Levy. Straightforward, mate. Daniel.levy@tottenhamhotspur.com. Email him, mate. Pushcar says, fair take on travelling versus foreign fans. But I even think the 12th man in football is a real thing. So even if foreign fans shouldn't be disrespected, the travelling fans will always have more of a say. Yeah, of course, like if you're in the ground, you've got a deep impact. But the original question was relating to in terms of, I understood it as, like, do you have a right to speak? Obviously, you can't impact the game in any way. Other than harass players on social media and wish them good luck. Like, okay, that might help. Or you could say the negative and have an ill impact on them. So I get that. So yeah, 12th man, but then I don't know. I just think my view on it's changed, where everyone has a voice for their team and has the right to be classed. If I'm a Tottenham fan and I'm here, and you're a Tottenham fan, you live in India or America or whatever, like, we're equals, we support the same team. I'm just in the more privileged position that I can go. That's it. Michael Bianchi says, hi James, thanks for answering my FPL question. I'm playing Sky for the first time this year. What do you think is the best dunk replacement? I can get up to Trippier. Thanks again. Yep, don't mind that. I think Shimikas is obviously the other way to go with it. There's no point waiting for Tottenham, so it would be by tomorrow. So look, I went Pedro Porro last week. You've let that go. So I'd think, yeah, if you can obviously get up to Saliba, if you don't have any Arsenal, I would still prefer that as a longer term play till the end before overhaul. But yeah, Trippier was one I'd been speaking about as a serious conversation, obviously, as well. Just consider, can you make the saving on a different Newcastle player? I think the Lascelles is a bit too dangerous, and to be honest, I think Livramento offers a danger as well. So yeah, probably trips. Francis Dogan says, our Spurs signing a superstar from Portugal, hotter from that Saudi club. There's been links of a potential loan deal that might suit everybody, where you can come in, give us some cover over a challenging period where we've got people going to AFCON and then throughout the season, and it gives Tottenham an opportunity to look at him rather than invest. So I would rather we didn't bother with loans, to tell you the truth. I'd rather we just fought longer term, but this might be one where Ange obviously knows the player really well, but the word is that he's not sure if he'll be good enough for the Prem. So it might be that just looking at him is the best solution for everyone. FPL Gold Galazzo says, why isn't there... I suppose as well, if you think about, like, you could deregister someone like Perisic from the squad, who was obviously part of the squad. He's going to miss the whole season. And you could load him in as the replacement, and then that's a short term. But then Perisic was going to leave the club next summer anyway. So I'd just rather Tottenham had a bit more long-term thinking about it. If that's who they want to buy, fine. I get it. FPL Gold Galazzo says, why isn't there any goalkeepers that could be dead ball specialists like Chilavert and Rogenio Sino in the past from South America? It would make FPL more interesting from captaincy standpoint. Do you honestly think, mate, that Ederson couldn't take a great free kick? I bet you he could. I bet you Ederson could take a great free kick. There's a few others as well. Aaron Ramsdale springs to mind as someone I wouldn't be surprised if he had a good dead ball on him, you know. But I'll send Ederson up when I've got, you know, De Bruyne and Alvarez and others. There's your answer, unfortunately, mate. Subbats blog says, chance of Newcastle making it through the Champions League after the tragedy. Wouldn't have used the word tragedy, but I get what you're saying in midweek. Yeah, they can still do it. I think they'll beat Milan, so then it's dependent on PSG's result in Dortmund, right? And if PSG perform in Dortmund like they did on Tyneside and in Milan, then they won't get anything. So yeah, still a chance. I would think. I don't know what the odds are, to be honest. I think it probably is it's probably just under 50%, isn't it? I think probably. Homegrown FPL says, I'm up north and it's beautiful and sunny now, but it's a little chilly. Yeah, there's no game's going to get called off. Ben Edison says, Gravenberch has that Pogba Moussa Dembele style to him. Fionki Bobas says, would you have done Alvarez to Nunez, keeping Watkins with a second free transfer? I couldn't move Alvarez to Nunez in one free transfer, and as I said during the stream, I would not have sold Alvarez this week under any circumstances. Sean says, sorry if I've missed this. James been in Istanbul and heading up to Newcastle shortly. Where are we up to with a potential Gameweek 20 1 likely now? So you have already done it during the stream. I'd say we're just, if you want to listen back, I did cover it earlier, but I would just to summarise say I think we're probably 50-50 now, and I think if we've got nothing by this time next week, then we're sort of sub 25%, lower than 20%. So there is a feeling that the FA Cup schedule could have an impact on whether the game happens or not. The draw for that is obviously this weekend. You're very welcome, James. FPL Spartan says, thanks for the Sky answer. It did help. It's a pleasure to be watching your stream, because you're so diligent in how you interact with people. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Penguin says, I will email Daniel Levy, mate. Thanks for that. Colin Con says, do you think Ange will change for this game? No. An out tactic, Pep. Be in the higher line and sit back and counter, which has been successful as you have done in the past. Listen. If we sit back and play defensively tomorrow, we get annihilated. If we play Ange's way tomorrow, we probably get annihilated. But at least we'll be playing the way we want to. So, yeah. Honestly, I would be more surprised if Ange went up there and didn't try and beat them than if he changed. And let me tell you this now. You can quote me on this. When Tottenham get hammered tomorrow, and you see all the narratives in the media, you can't play like that. It's too naive. We got no target this season. It doesn't matter where we finish. This is year one of hopefully something that's going to be long and bring some success in the future. It doesn't matter. So there's no point changing for the, can we scramble a 0-0 at the Etihad? There's no chance. You know why as well? Because if we go low block, we're going to have to defend some crosses, right? And Haaland will kill Davis and Rowe in the air. So you might as well go high anyway. So I can't foresee how we don't get beat tomorrow, is the truth. But you know what? I'm still going. I'm going to support my team. I want them to go there and attack. I know there's every chance we get slaughtered. I'm prepared for the media narratives afterwards. And on Monday, I'm going to be a bit short of sleep. I'm going to do the podcast and I'm still going to smile about it. I already kind of know that's my weekend. Peter G says, thanks for answering the Sky question yesterday. I forgot to mention that I had Shimikes. So is there any defender worth having as dump replacement Sky up to 8.4? Newcastle would be a consideration, I think. Porro, if you want to go in tomorrow, he doesn't feel right, admittedly. Like, I get that. You could go early on Thiago Silva. I think that's exact money, isn't it? I don't mind that. He'll definitely play tomorrow. It's debatable whether he gets anything tomorrow. But if you think you're going there anyway, that's possibly the one, I think, is maybe that. Atul says, Europe versus South America. Who wins? Well, in a football match? Europe, I would imagine, quite comfortably. I'd have to look at the two teams in my head, but I think Europe. I would think. There's possibly a podcast there at all. Thank you, mate. Flonky Boba says, sorry, meant for my situation. Have Watkins, Alvarez, and Haaland. Would have done Alvarez to Nunez. Exactly what I said, mate. I would not have sold Alvarez this week. Simple as that. Right, we'll leave it there, guys. Very best of luck. Enjoy your weekend. Smash a like. Again, if you want to support the show, www.patreon.com/planetfpl. If you want additional content or if you want to support the show, you can support us from as little as £3 a month and it'd be hugely appreciated. Generally, it does help keep the lights on. So www.patreon.com/planetfpl if you want to support us. Otherwise, Clates will be back with me on Monday for the Game Week 14 review pod deadline stream, with me looking after the little man at the same time, 5 p.m. this channel, Tuesday. Have a great weekend, Arrow. Be nice to each other. Hope your arrows are green. Ciao for now. He says, trying to press the button.